coming to you from the Hart Building in historic downtown Marysville. Getting into all the dirt from the gridiron game, it's time to huddle up with your host, Adam Avalos.
Gary, honestly, I almost can't even tell that's your voice. I appreciate you making that video for us. Welcome, guys. Episode 2, if you were with us last week, episode 2 of Huddle Up. We are so happy to have you here. We're in the historic Hart Building. Huddle Up, obviously, an NFL sports show. How you guys doing? How was your weekend? We got some crazy weather this weekend. You guys doing okay?
I'm good to go.
We're good to go, man.
Yeah, what'd you guys do in that rain this weekend? That was kind of crazy, right? It's like been hot. What'd you do? Hid inside? Is that what you're doing?
No, actually, I never got rained. I was actually sitting out in Wheatland with my kids watching some youth football and watched it go all the way around us.
It just passed you?
Completely past us.
It was like a thunderstorm. It was like no rain, and then I was painting in my office. I'm painting an office, and like all of a sudden it was like torrential downpour, thunder, lightning. My dogs were freaking out, and so anyways, glad you guys had a good weekend.
First rain of the season, man. You got to do some 180s in your Elantra. That's what I did.
180s in your Elantra.
What if you don't have an Elantra?
Get one, man.
Now, the question is that rear wheel drive or front wheel? Because
doesn't matter, man.
doing donuts, you sometimes got to go backwards, right?
So that's when you call it Rockford.
Got the backup camera. You're good to go.
All right, jumping into football, we begin with NFL Sunday Ticket. As you know, NFL Sunday Ticket is a product geared towards football junkies and hobbyists. That happened last time, too.
I gotta fix it.
It's me. NFL Sunday Ticket, football junkies, hobbyists who don't want to miss a single bit of the action with features such as the Red Zone channel. This channel could be really cool. Let's say you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and you live in Yuba City. You're probably not going to catch the game, but if you got NFL Sunday Ticket, you won't miss a minute of your Dallas Cowboys action. The juicy part here, though, fans a little bit upset because one NFL headline read, NFL fans shocked by Sunday ticket price $740 price tag on the App Store. Begged the league to send it back to DirecTV. That is super expensive. $740 just to watch your beloved team play. I was doing some research last night. It might not be this way on every single app, but on the Apple App Store, they add some charges there, and it's true. So you can look it up right now. $740 to purchase NFL Sunday Ticket for the season. Keegan, I know you did some research last night. We were kind of texting back and forth. Tell me what you found out. $740. There's other avenues to purchase this, but it's true. $740, guys. It's there.
I did see that. I saw that it was $740, but I also saw on the actual website itself on YouTube that it was $449, $479, and then an extra $10 if you want to add Red Zone. I mean, obviously we know that Google paid $14 billion for this 7-year deal, so they definitely want to be making their money. That's up from $1.5 million annually from the DirecTV contract, which was the previous 8 years.
And who did you say it's $400 from?
So that was on the YouTube website itself.
Yeah, on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But we were kind of talking, you probably got to have a YouTube TV subscription, right?
I don't actually have one, so
you were able to buy it that way.
I was able to get it that way.
All right,
mine was $449.
$449, so $450 from $740. That's like a $300 swing. Still pretty pricey, Absolutely. If you ask me. The $740. I mean, even though there are other avenues to purchase this at cheaper, there's definitely some people out there who probably purchased it at $740. I did some math, and if you break that down per week of the season, that is $41 a week to watch your favorite football team play. Ryan, what do you think about that?
Hey, that's still cheaper than going to a game for the most part. However, NFL Sunday Ticket, I mean, unfortunately, I'm a Las Vegas Raider fan, so they're in market. I don't have to worry about the Sunday Ticket. I watch a lot of the in-market stuff, but I mean, they're pulling for some money right there, trying to get it back. That's crazy. What I don't like about this the Sunday Ticket, and it's just me, is this is only for the 13 games on Sunday that are not in market. Yep. You're not getting primetime videos with these. You're not getting those other ways to watch. Thursday night games, out of the question. That's Amazon. You know what I mean? Sunday night games, NBC. If you're a streamer and you don't have cable, you're now having to get a Peacock membership. So to me, a lot of money for 13 games of out of market. But I guess if you love your team and you live in California rooting for somebody, other than a local team, then you're going to pay the money.
I mean, let's be real here. I mean, if you like a team and they're out of your market, I mean, you kind of got to pay for this. I mean, you can't, like, you can hardly watch if you don't. And you brought up a good point. Like, this is only for the Sunday games. You still have to, if you want to watch all the games all season. Like, it was like 2 or 3 years ago when they started kind of doing that at the prime time. Maybe it was longer, but I can remember like not having Amazon Prime or Prime Video, and then literally having to sign up for that just to watch one Thursday night football game. So it seems a little bit predatory, like on top of the $7.40 price tag that you might pay if you got to get Peacock, Amazon Prime, ESPN. I mean, you're paying like $1,000 just to watch your favorite team. That's kind of insane. What do you think?
That was my point. If you look at it, it's $146 for 4 months. You only get the out of market. You have to pay an additional $72.99 to commit to YouTube TV to get all of the nighttime games. So you got Thursday.
Yeah.
It doesn't even include Thursday. NFL Plus will give you Thursday and it'll give you Red Zone, but now you're paying. So my math was $877.92 for 4 months, and that doesn't even get you to the playoffs or Super Bowl. It's just crazy.
Playoffs, at least you get to watch with a regular TV.
Yeah, exactly. If you have an antenna on your roof, make your sister climb up there and hold it.
Yeah.
And, tell her there's her favorite toilet there.
We're pretty lucky if your team is like a local team. Raiders, though, like last year there was some blackouts on some because they moved to Las Vegas, so it wasn't like that though in previous seasons, right?
They'd be showing you Rams games.
Yeah. So you may or may not have been pirating.
It's hit and miss. It's definitely hit and miss.
Yeah.
It all depends. The nice thing about the Raiders is they usually play on ABC. Whereas the Niners, if they're local, they're on the Fox.
Yeah, on Fox.
So a lot of times they're showing both games anyways. I do think, though, when the season gets going, and like last year the Raiders started struggling, then it turned into a lot of the Kansas City games and that kind of stuff because those were the better games.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure, absolutely. What is your guys' favorite, like your favorite team on Sunday? What time slot are they playing in? The 10, the 1, Sunday night football? You like that?
I like Sunday night, but Dolphins usually play at 10 a.m. because they're in Miami. But, if they're local or something, they'll play at 1:30. I know they got a couple nighttime games. They got a Monday night, 2 Monday night games, a Thursday night and a Sunday night. So.
No, but if like you can pick it, your team is playing in one. I always hate when the Niners play at the 10. I feel like I'm not ready. Like, it's Sunday, maybe I sleep in a little bit. It's like 9, I roll out of bed. I'm not juiced up, so I like it when they play in the 1. Like the 10 is like, it's like 10:30, they score a touchdown, something happens, I'm like,
dude, I hit the gym at 7 a.m., so I'm home by 10.
All right, so you're already up.
I like the 10 a.m. slot.
You're already up.
I am.
What do you guys think?
I like the 1 o'clock game slot, to be honest, because I'm an early riser too, but it allows me to get some of the stuff that I necessarily need to get done before I can hunker down for the next 3 hours to actually watch the game. I mean, with 2 kids at home, those 3 hours. I mean, my family allows me to watch my Raider games, and it's really nice that they leave me alone and I get to sit down and watch, and that's where I get to have my 3 hours on the weekend.
What do you think, Keegan?
I like the 1 o'clock as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more because then I can watch the other games beforehand and I kind of flick in between the channels.
You can really get ready for it.
That is why he beats me in fantasy.
The 5:30 is like painful. When the Niners play like 5:30, when your favorite team plays 5, it seems like it's like all day. And then if they lose, it's like I waited all day for this. I was like anxious all day. Sometimes the only thing I like about the 10 o'clock game is if your favorite team loses at 10 o'clock, at 1, you could just enjoy the rest of your day or like go about it. And then it's kind of like over. That's like maybe the only plus.
Been a Dolphins fan for 10 a.m. bro. 10 a.m. slot.
Yeah, 10 a.m.
Gets me through my day.
Just remember, though, we're talking about 10 a.m. slots, 1 p.m. slots. Just be happy you're on the West Coast watching football. You get to watch it all day.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on that East Coast watching it, it don't start until 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And those Sunday night football games, they're going till like 11 o'clock at
midnight, dude.
Yeah.
I was in Florida in January, midnight.
Yeah.
No,
So be happy. West Coast football, NFL time is great.
It really is.
Although the Super Bowl starting at 4 o'clock here and compared to starting at 7 o'clock on the East Coast, so much better. It feels so much more when it's on prime time. Having it there, it's like dinner time, watching the game. It's a good atmosphere there.
Super Bowl's crazy. Having like the last few years been there a few times, those 2 weeks in between and then waiting for that game, There's nothing more stressful than that. Like the day of, you're usually like the day before, you're like, listen, you're coaching yourself. You're like, you know what? It's just a game, man. If they lose, da 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 da. Then the morning comes and you're just like, you're a wreck the entire day.
Well, that's just you because your team keeps making.
I know, and they lose, and losing, and losing.
Adam's been a wreck for the last 8 years.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's nerve wracking to say the least. We're gonna jump right into the new kickoff rules. If you've watched any of the preseason this year, you have seen they are doing some new kickoff stuff in the NFL. The reason for this is because where it is, in order to address the lowest kickoff return rate in NFL history, which means all these previous seasons they're not taking it out of the end zone. The kicker's just booting it in the back, and the guy is kneeling in the end zone, or some of those guys can like boot it like right through the uprights. But the NFL has unveiled a new kickoff rule and formation. This is in an effort to promote more kickoff returns and also decrease the number of dangerous collisions by lining up the kicking team gunners and kick return blockers closer together. What do you guys think of the new rule change? Let's go with you, Chris. What do you think?
It doesn't make any sense because these guys are so fast off the line that they can almost get up to the speed they would if they were. I mean, if they were going, the full length of the field, they can get up to that speed. And it's like you're like toddlers on there. The onside kick rule's ridiculous.
Yeah, the onside kick.
You have to tell them when you're going to do it. You have to be winning. You can't be winning. You have to be losing, and it can't be before the fourth quarter. I think that's the last one.
Yeah,
it just seems like a bunch of toddler rules to me. But that's just my opinion.
Chris, to add to that, I found a weird rule on that onside kick. So if the kick goes past the setup zone, that whole setup zone that they were blown, right? I thought this was crazy, and it's untouched. It goes untouched. And the kicking team is assessed a 15-yard penalty because they declared for the onside. And not only did they get assessed the 15-yard penalty, the receiving team will get the ball on the opponent's 20-yard line.
Really?
I thought that was stunned.
That's kind of crazy.
That's a deep rule.
I mean, that is going to be a strategic rule where the receiving team's like, just don't touch it.
Right. Well, they have that weird rule of the ball lands on the corner. You can put your feet out and catch it, and then you get the other. Is it like that for the end zone too? If they put their feet in the end zone and the ball is on the outside.
The ball physically lands in the landing zone and rolls into the kickoff into the end zone. Then the ball is assessed as downed. It's going to be on the 30-yard line.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah. That's a deep dive right there.
It is.
That
is. Ryan went deep on that.
I take that back. That is going to be if it lands in the landing zone, goes into the end zone and down, it's at the 20. If it lands in the end zone and down and in the end zone or goes out the back, it goes to the 30.
Did you only research that because you're a Raiders fan and the refs hate you guys?
You ever though watch football with I don't mean to say this is not sexist or anything, but you ever watch football with a woman and they don't know the rules and then you start explaining to them and they're like, how do you know all this?
My favorite moment with watching it with my wife trying to teach her one time, she really wanted to learn.
Yeah.
It ended up in a little tidbit. The question was, why are the flags yellow and why are the flags red? And the only thing I could come up with was the stop sign analogy. Yellow means slow down, there's going to be something occurring. Red means stop. Stop everything. Don't know if I was right, but I had no clue.
That was good. Keegan, what do you think? Kickoff rule, they changed it. I'm going to give my opinion after you do. What do you think about the kickoff rule?
To be honest, I actually kind of like it. I looked and found that there was only a 22% return rate last year. And there were only 4 kick returns for touchdowns, which is the lowest since 1983. And then I kind of went on YouTube and found some Cordero Patterson highlights, which I must say, there's a 10-minute video on there. It's all 9 of them. It just pumps you up, man.
Yeah, it does.
I'll be honest.
It does.
Nothing like them.
One of my favorite Super Bowl memory is when the Chicago Bears, Rex Grossman, he had no business being there. They played the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl, and Devin Hester ran the opening kick. He was like, all right, Dante Hall, there's been some real great kick returners, and they don't really exist anymore because the rules have changed. Devin Hester was hands down, I'll fight somebody about it. He was the best kick returner ever. That guy would get the ball and he would just kind of stand there and walk. He wouldn't even start running yet. He'd just walk and assess. And as soon as somebody got close to him, he'd be gone. But yeah, the kick return stuff, I mean, it's not the best rule. I get what they're trying to do. Guardian caps, there's all kinds of stuff. They're trying to make the game safer. But if it means that there's going to be more returns, I'm all for it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But you wouldn't get that onside kick from Super Bowl 44, what the Saints did to the Colts.
That's ridiculous.
That's one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
You'd never have, if with this rule, that never happens.
The benefit of the onside kick and being able to perform it well, like Sean Payton used to do it all the time, right? When he was with the Saints, is that nobody knows it's coming. If
Correct.
you take away the element that somebody
Exactly.
knows it's coming.
That's my whole thing with the Super Bowl, yeah.
No, I feel you.
That's my problem with it, but that's just me.
Is that something that's based, do you think, in collisions as well, or it's just like, is that why they removed it, or they just want to make the game not so?
They want to make it fair.
Yeah,
Because we're kicking it to you on that side, so we're going to make it fair. That's why I think that penalty's so harsh that people don't know about.
yeah.
And
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, your kickers are getting more accurate but powerful, so they have to like find that middle ground too.
We are going to go to a commercial break, guys. Thank you so much for joining us at Huddle Up. Check out these advertisements.
Just, we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We're going to go to commercial break.
Too hard there, Adam.
Yeah.
I like it.
Could have been anywhere, but chose to be here. Thank you so much. Let's get right into it. We're going to get into the Trey Lance situation. My microphone's doing it again. I didn't even touch it this time. All right, boom. Welcome back to Huddle Up. We're going to get Dallas Cowboys, America's team. They rule the headlines almost every single week. It's like if you look on any sports app, NFL app, the Dallas Cowboys, some story about them. We were texting earlier, something Jerry Jones said that we can't repeat on air, by the way. We cannot repeat that on air. But we want to talk about the Trey Lance situation a little bit. I think that was like one of the biggest stories of this past weekend, preseason a little slow. We're kind of limping in here. Once the season starts, we'll be full of topics we could talk about. But anything involving Dallas always going to be a hot topic. I don't know if you watched the game. Lance threw a whopping not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 interceptions in that game, guys, versus the Chargers. Played the entire game. I guess if that's any consolation, it's not like he just did it in a quarter. I don't think that's possible to do in a quarter. Last season, we all know Jerry Jones made a trade that some kind of construed to be a shot at Dak, maybe as like to motivate him. Obviously, Dak, a contract situation there. He brought over Trey Lance in a trade from San Francisco. 5 interceptions, 1 game. That's kind of hard to do. I mean, he did play every single snap, but 5 interceptions, 1 game. Keegan, what do you think about 5 interceptions, 1 game? I'll say it again. That's a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, no, it was quite brutal, to be honest. I watched the highlights of that game. I didn't watch the game live, but it's funny with him because he does some things at times that look really good. I mean, he's got a good arm. He made some really beautiful throws. I saw one of the passes. It was to Flournoy. It was in the corner. He just kind of floated one up there. Nice touchdown. But then you see, like, in the second corner, he was kind of rolling to the right. He threw to Jalen Cropper in triple coverage. It was a horrible, horrible pick. So, I mean, I think the guy's very athletic, but, not too impressed.
No, yeah, absolutely. It was rough. I personally, I went back and I wanted to watch. I was paying attention a little bit to the game, but then afterwards I was like, all right, watch it. Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback, has a cool YouTube channel if you want to check Chase Daniel out, where he kind of watches, goes over the plays, and he's got all the vernacular, and he'll kind of break down the play. And to me, 4 out of 5 of them were like atrocious. We all know kind of the story. The 49ers drafted him 3rd overall. They kind of reached. Everybody kind of thought, what are they doing? He had a few chances in San Francisco. I mean, a lot of chances, actually, more than a lot of guys get. We know Purdy beat him out last year. Sam Darnold even beat him out of the 2 spot. I think it was going to be too much of a distraction for the team, so the Niners had to move on. What do you think? Is it time to officially call Trey Lance a bust, Ryan?
He's really close. He's really close. I'll tell you right now, if he doesn't get the second string QB after this preseason and gets beat out by Cooper Rush, who literally played 2 series all preseason and was 3 for 6, 50% completion, 50 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But they started week 1 and week 2. You have Trey Lance here, who started the last game, but played in every single game. Only him and Cooper Rush played in the 3 games. This, to me, was Jerry Jones trying to prove a point that, is this guy worth taking the risk on that he took? If he gets beat out this year, he's done. He's done. Like you said, the highlights show some of the interceptions were just horrible. Yeah, he ran a 46-yard touchdown. That's cool, but there's a lot of better QBs in the NFL. And really, I got to say, Adam, as a Niner fan, you got to be loving the fact that you kind of stuck Jerry Jones with this one.
Well, yeah, except for the fact that we spent a first-round pick. I always think, who could that player have been? There's a lot of good players, and we literally wasted it on him.
But you got Brock Purdy still.
No. Yeah, of course. It's a consolation.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at what you could have been, but it doesn't matter. It still worked out perfect.
No, yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think the Niners knew when they drafted him he was a raw prospect and stuff like that. It almost kind of is weird because Lynch and Shanahan, they hit on Purdy, but they totally miss on Lance. Mm-hmm. So in one way, you're like, man, their QB evaluations are pretty good, and then you're like, whoa, that was terrible that they missed that. What did you think about the game?
Actually didn't watch the game. I did watch the highlights, but my opinion of Trey Lance is I kind of feel bad for the guy because he had that one awesome season with North Dakota State. Played 1 game the year after in October of 2020 and then said, I'm just going to go into the draft. So he really didn't have much of experience. He didn't have the experience, right? And then the San Francisco 49ers are freaking out, trade, get up to 3rd, and they take him. So they put him in a high-stress situation, and he really didn't have a whole lot of experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, is he a athletic guy that just plays the quarterback position, or is he just a quarterback who's not that great of an athlete?
He's definitely not a quarterback that can throw 50 passes a game to get you by.
Correct.
That is not going to happen.
Yep.
And that's where he's going to make the mistakes.
The one thing, I watched his little press conference afterwards, and I don't know, that's always, like, to me, a big thing. Like, if the guy is, like, contrite, if they kind of are feeling a little bit down, like, he was just like, well, it just happened, I just need 12 hours to reset from this. It's like, dude, like, this is, like, your last chance. Like, you realize, like, your attitude, I feel like, can go a long way, and he didn't seem to be that bummed about it. And it was, like, an atrocious performance. I think there was guys online that were kind of trying to make the best of it, like, oh, did you see his rushing yards? It was like, dude, if you're throwing 5 picks, I would start rushing the football, too. I'd be like, I can't do 6.
Again, like I said, if Cooper Rush wins that spot, he's the only one celebrating kind of on that Dallas Cowboys, right? Because he only got 2 series to prove that he was the second string quarterback for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. They gave Trey Lance the entire preseason to say, hey, win it. Cooper Rush is sitting on the side like, what about me? I was here.
But Lance is still going to get a roster spot because he's got guaranteed money, and they can keep 3 quarterbacks now for the emergency quarterbacks.
No, that got vetoed.
Oh, that
got vetoed yesterday.
Really? Well, he still got guaranteed money because Jerry Jones just said he's going to be on the roster. He just said it.
Yeah. Jerry Jones is in that Al Davis stage to where he's like too proud to admit that he makes a mistake, and I'm glad the Niners, because that, and I want to get into this. This is what I had written down, and this has been my thought about Lance. Last year, I officially gave up on Lance when they were in the preseason and they were battling for the number 2 spot. And there were times when Trey Lance, just like yesterday, he was out there and he was playing against the 2s and the 3s of the opposing team. It was always my thought that if he was a good good quarterback in the NFL. Like if you put Josh Allen out there against the 2s and 3s of another team, it wouldn't matter who the wide receivers was. It wouldn't matter who the running back is, the O-line. He would just dominate everybody. Like that's how good he is. And Trey Lance got so many opportunities, including, 2 days ago, I think the game was. And he was just never able to set himself apart. And last year when he lost the job to Darnold, it was kind of like, this guy's done here. I don't even know what the Cowboys are doing. So you think there's a chance he actually becomes the backup there, or Cooper Rush?
If he doesn't, what is Jerry Jones doing? Well, I mean, what is the game plan for Dallas? Why are you starting a guy the whole time? I mean, again, Cooper Rush, 3 for 6, right? 2 series. Played maybe 10 plays. Preseason stats for Trey Lance, 73 of 113. He threw the ball 113 times in 3 games. 64% completion rate. 5 interceptions to 2 TDs. That's not impressive.
Yeah.
Not impressive against 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
It's over 50% though. I mean, it's over 500.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that could throw over 50% in the game.
No, yeah.
He's not good enough for NFL.
Yeah, Cooper Rush, he's shown whenever Dak's been out that he can win football games and get them by until Dak comes out. I think the Trey Lance experiment, it really needs to be done. It's kind of a shame, but he has had, like we said, more chances than most guys. Keegan, is he like done? Trey Lance is done. Would you even keep him on the roster? So you're saying you wouldn't even keep him on the roster, Ryan?
Nope.
I like
Dunzo.
that. I like that.
I would have to agree, to be honest. And when I was kind of looking back on his draft class, I had a look at a couple of the other guys and Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. And while he didn't necessarily have the same opportunities as them, it's pretty hard to call any of them starter level quarterbacks in the league.
That is a rough draft class.
Yeah.
I always kind of wonder, and I'm not, obviously I'm not general manager, I don't claim to be, but I always wonder, like, when they do have guys that are like certified busts, like we all see it, like dudes like us all see it. Why, like, something could happen, like happened to the Niners a few years ago, where a quarterback goes down and then another quarterback goes. You could get to your third string quarterback. If you know he just sucks, why are you keeping him? Like, why not get, like, even to just have some random guy, not random, but like a quarterback that is unproven in the NFL, just the chance is better than just like carting like Trey Lance out there in the event that.
I think he ends up on a practice squad.
Yeah,
I really do. I don't think he just ends NFL. Like if he doesn't make that spot, I don't think he's gone. I think he's going to end up on a practice squad. He could possibly work his way in the middle of the season with injuries and make it back onto a spot for a backup. I don't think that he's. I mean, yeah, I would just cut him though, because I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. I will say that Trey Lance trade worked wonders for the Dolphins. We ended up with Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb.
Is that part of it?
Yeah, because they traded with him. That was the trade they did. They traded with the Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Trey Lance, I mean, he was a nice guy. I mean, he was professional about it when he was with the Niners. I hate to pile on him, but after this weekend, it was kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of guys that are fighting for a shot in the NFL, and to see him get so many chances, I think it's definitely time to move on. We want to talk about this before we go to the next topic. CeeDee Lamb, that was the news today. CeeDee Lamb signs a 4-year, $136 million deal. That makes him right now number 2 below Justin Jefferson. What do you think, Chris, about that deal? I mean, wide receivers, we're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to talk about another wide receiver and his deal, and then we'll kind of get into the whole wide receiver, are they overpaid thing. But what do you think about the news of CeeDee Lamb getting that huge contract today?
Well, that can go one of two ways. He is their guy. He's Dak's favorite guy. Dak's coming into a contract year. Whether he does good or not, he's going to do Dak, right? But CeeDee's always going to be, he can just throw it out there and CeeDee's going to go after the ball. Yeah. However, you lost a lot of weapons on offense. You lost O-lineman. You lost Pollard. Ezekiel's not what he used to be. No. So now, if you're throwing CeeDee out there early in the game, he's going to get tired. So who else you got to back him up? That was my only concern. Yeah, he's a great player, but are you going to get him all the games? Every game, is he going to be your only guy? You got to have some help. So hopefully they put some guys around him that can support him,
Yeah.
It's not just him.
CeeDee's not to me like a Tyreek or a Debo type. Like, he is going to require a quarterback to get him the ball. So does this move signify to you that they're kind of all in on Dak at the end of, I mean, you just said it, they're not going to go with Trey Lance. Cooper Rush is the only quarterback there. If they let Dak walk, they'd have to sign some free agent that we don't know exists or draft somebody. So they're literally going to sign CeeDee for this and then let another quarterback besides Dak take over with CeeDee. He's too good of a weapon to just give to any quarterback, right, Ryan?
Oh yeah, by far. I think the signing was perfect timing. I think he's the most deserved receiver that was in contract negotiation. I mean, this is the number 2 receiver last year. That's, I mean, on numbers and everything. He only was trailing Hill, and this is Cowboys. I mean, you're right. This is leading into who I think they're going to eventually sign Dak. You have to. Where else are you going to go? Like you said, Ezekiel Elliott back to try to take Pollard's spot or whatever he's doing. I mean, all he is doing is still eating all the time. He's not moving at all, man. Nope. But if you're going to move and you're going to try to move for the future, and you have a young receiver like this, and you have so much of a young quarterback still there that can sling it, I'm not a Dak hater. I do think that for some reason the Cowboys can find really good quarterbacks that can control a game during the season and just struggle with other options. But yeah, your best option is to sign Lamb, move on. The big thing for me though is not only is Dak coming up, Micah Parsons coming up next year, and that's going to be a big hit too. So who do you move? Who do you sign? Who do you secure?
I think the Cowboys are one of those teams that, like, you know, they're on the cusp. Like, every year they're going to be competitive, or they have been the last few years. But it's like heartbreaking every single year to not be able to get over some certain humps. So the fans and Jerry Jones and a lot, like, you know, they get questions about what can they do to make the team better. Do you think the CD Lamb thing, do you think that's good money allocated, Keegan, or do you think it's better that they, like, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, I love that guy. I actually really, really love him, but that's not acceptable for your starting running back of the Dallas Cowboys. What are they doing?
It's like Medea joins the Dallas Cowboys. That's the next movie.
Yeah, Medea joins the Dallas Cowboys. I like that. What do you think, Keegan?
I think CeeDee Lamb definitely deserves that contract. Yeah. I think that some of the teams don't invest in the talent that they've sort of grown. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about wide receivers, so I won't go into that right yet, but I think he definitely earned his money. And I mean, Dak Prescott, he's shown himself to be a pretty handy player. Just maybe the big matches he doesn't quite arrive for those.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
He puts up garbage points.
I mean, to give him a little bit of a shot, he's had some injuries in his career where some quarterbacks that are at his level too that haven't had those injuries.
That's true.
Haven't had to deal with those injuries. I mean, he's been out a few. Don't quote me. I think 2 different times for a significant time, right? I know the ankle one was a big one. Yeah. Was there another year where he was out for a while? I don't remember.
I think it was
I don't follow Cowboys.
I think the year before last, Cooper Rush did some starts for him, and they did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their team was better, though. I think we all agree. We were all kind of hit on it. They've lost some pieces, and does anybody think they're going to be better this year than they were last year?
I still think they're under 9.5 wins.
Under 9.5 wins? Wow.
Because if you have nobody around CeeDee Lamb, this is back to my original point. If you have nobody to support CeeDee Lamb, is it the Dak and CD show? You know, is Dak going to run behind him, you know, after he catches the ball? CD's going to be getting beat up if he's got nobody else to throw to.
We're going to get into it later, but I'm not really a fan of paying a wide receiver a bunch of money while you don't have your quarterback locked down. That's I think wide receivers are kind of overpaid. All the guys we're talking about, I'll tell you in a second, but all the guys we're talking about here, even we had one about Marvin Harrison Jr. These guys are all on their rookie deal. So who's to say you can't just do that again? You know what I mean? All the guys we're about to talk about are on a rookie deal. What do you think, Keegan? Dallas Cowboys better this year, worse this year, same?
I'm inclined to agree with Chris. I don't know that they're going to be as good this year. Losing a couple key pieces. Obviously, CD is still there. Jake Ferguson's a pretty handy tight end, but other than that, they really don't have anyone.
Yeah. Last year, Dak had to play out of his mind too, right? MVP season. What do you think, Brian? Better, worse, same?
I think they finished 3rd in their league, possibly. Maybe
Commanders.
2nd. I think the Eagles.
Yeah, you're not talking about New York Giants, right?
No, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Exactly. I think the 2 that you just said. Yep, Eagles and Commanders crossway, and then you got Dallas here.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Eagles. They worry me. I think they're a legit team. Jalen Hurts, he's hungry. But
Saquon, man.
And now
that was a huge loss for New York.
As long as you cheat a little bit and get caught, it's okay. As long as you win, right?
Yeah.
They said Saquon's camp's been nasty.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Real quick, before we go to commercial break, let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to talk about him a little bit. We're going to go to break. We only have a minute. He's a rookie. Hasn't played a lot in preseason. We were talking before the show. But, can you remember a wide receiver that's a rookie coming out with this much hype and buzz? Everybody's touting him as, already, elite. What do you think, Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes, I think he's great.
Yeah.
Well, he can run those weird routes, man. I mean, they're saying, hey, run a curl, run a slant, run a go. But, he'll excel when it's faked a crossing route, hit the out, step his foot down. I mean, he's going to run those crazy routes that nobody can keep up. I think he's going to be like another Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and I think he's got it. And then, dude, the guy's going to go out there and just snatch it like a pigskin pterodactyl. He's just, you can throw the ball in the
pterodactyl. I love that.
You can throw it in the general vicinity, and that guy's going to catch it. And his dad is in Hall of Fame, epic wide receiver, and his Peyton Manning was his quarterback. If Kyler Murray's on his game, I think Arizona's dangerous to him. I really do.
Yeah, you can find tons of videos of Christian McCaffrey talking about his dad, Ed McCaffrey. Just like he'd tell him something crazy, like he would be wearing jeans to school on game day, and he'd be like, "You take them jeans off, boy. You go put sweatpants on. You got to be loose." It's like what, like crazy stuff. Christian McCaffrey, but definitely having a dad who played a Hall of Fame dad, Marvin Harrison, as your dad cannot hurt Marvin Harrison Jr. Right?
It can't hurt. I mean, but again, Peyton Manning was throwing him the ball. Peyton Manning is a proven quarterback.
He's not Kyler Murray. I get it.
Kyle Murray, to me, Kyle Murray is still not a proven quarterback to me. He runs around a lot. He does a lot of things. He's on the smaller side.
But if they can get it within 30% of his,
he gets injured. But to me, I am a fond believer that until you prove it, the hype needs to stop. Catch a ball. You haven't even caught one in the preseason yet.
Yeah, the rookie
catch a ball.
The rookie hype is real. Like the rookie hype is crazy real. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be like you had to sit on the bench for a few seasons and like ride pine.
Yeah.
But now it's like Caleb Williams. Next, Tom Brady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Marvin Harrison Jr. Unanimously, I mean, we've all seen it. I mean, he's like the number one. We talked about it last week. We all tried to pick other fantasy players because he was like everybody chose him as the number one fantasy rookie. What do you think, Keegan? Marvin Harrison, is all this praise deserved so? Or like Ryan said, does the guy need to prove it on the field?
I think you have to prove it on the field, to be honest. And even if he's done this at the college level, it is the next step up. So he's playing amongst the best who play the game. So I definitely think we need to see that from him. But I liked what I saw. I mean, he kind of reminded me a little bit of Devontae. He kind of just seems to find space.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't you think like he's gonna get obviously because they're saying like he's already number one wide receiver over there, so he is going to get every team's top cornerback every single week. If you're the cornerback and you're going in there and some rookie, they're talking about him like this. Are you juiced for that game?
Oh yeah,
I'm jacked, man.
Absolutely.
I'm like this.
My thing is Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming with so much hype right now.
Yeah.
Look at some of the other receivers that we had that hit the NFL spotlight real quick at rookie times, right? Jefferson, was he talked like this when he came out of college? Was he the guaranteed number one guy? No. Well, you got a great point. Right now, who he's number one receiver over in Arizona. They got their other guy that was going to be there is suspended 5 games now. I mean, yeah, it's going to be easy to guard him. Now, like Keegan said, he's coming from college. Your outside linebackers are as quick as your cornerbacks in college. I mean, they're going to be covering ground. To me, you got to prove it. I mean, if you don't prove it, you could be gone just as quick as you were the hype coming in. I mean, I'm not trying to bash Trey Lance, but he got a lot of hype coming in too, and he's gone within 4 years.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Because why? We didn't prove it.
Yeah, he got a lot more chances than guys.
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
When Harrison's jersey comes out, though, it's going to sell so fast because he's having contract issues with Fanatics because of it.
Real quick, as we go to commercial, any chance he's not good, or he's at least going to be decent?
I think he's at least decent.
Ryan,
I'm going to say decent.
what do you think?
Above average, but
Yeah, I'm not crowning any wide receivers until I see him play a few games.
I don't think he's number one.
No, he's not number one.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it. So we are going to go to commercial break here, guys. Thank you so much. Join us in a minute for more Huddle Up. Welcome back to Huddle Up. Thank you guys so much for joining us through the hour. We have a last 15 minutes here. We have a resident Miami Dolphins fan in the building, so we are going to speak about the Miami Dolphins, get some inside information here. Tell us what's going on with the Big Tuna. I think we can all agree Miami has one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. Tua's got a ton of weapons at his disposal. Running back, Mostert, my guy, love Mostert. He is so fast. Achane, wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. He was voted number 1 last year in the NFL's top 100 players. That's kind of crazy. I know a lot of people were like, it's Patrick Mahomes or nothing. But anyways, Tyreek Hill, what do you think, Chris? You go first. Do the Dolphins what do they have to do this season to get over the hump to take another step?
1 second. How did you become a Dolphins fan first?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're a long ways from
awesome.
home, my friend.
This is a great story. When I was 9 years old. No, but people made funny of that. So I was watching a game. I used to be on a Pee Wee team that was the Roseman Raiders. I have all
there we
Raiders
go.
swag.
There we go. I got you.
Hold on. You're not going to like the end of the story.
Whatever.
So I watched the game. It was in December of 1992, and Dan Marino proceeds to decimate the Raiders defense. And I tell my mom, like, I'm a Dolphins fan, but the next birthday in March, she buys me all like coral dolphins and sea dolphins. I'm like, no, the football team. She's like, that's a real team.
Yeah.
So that's where I became a Dolphins fan. I was like 9 years
there
old.
we go.
Yeah. And then Ace Ventura came out. Then all my friends at school were like, that's a real team. That's from the team from Ace Ventura. I'm like, it's a real team.
I only ask because I have family that's Dolphins fans, and my younger brother, he is a Dolphins fan. Grew up with my stepdad being a Dolphins fan. Asked him the same question. Basically, when he got into football, he watched Dan Marino.
That's
Don Shula and Dan Marino.
If
That's
you're
how
my
he fell into
age,
it.
born in the 80s, you watch Dan Marino. Prior to that, it was Shula.
Just wanted to get that across real quick. It's kind of weird. It's like a phenomenon.
Why they like the Dolphins' origin story starts with Dan Marino.
It's all Dan Marino.
Well, yeah,
he's the man.
Yeah, he just didn't win Super Bowls.
What do you think, Chris? How they stacking up this year? Do you expect them to take another step forward?
I think they do. I think they take a step. I think they have a better season than last year. I think they're going to be more dynamic. Mike McDaniels, he's got to fix his play calling in big games. He gets too conservative, but when he's out there having fun, he's motioning, Tyreek and flipping him the ball and going behind Waddle, and they're just running all kinds of crazy routes, and they're outshining everybody. I mean, these old school, defensive coordinators are putting everybody in cushion and zone, and he's just vertically beating him with all this speed. Mike McDaniel has figured out how to expose these guys with speed. So
he also got a new look this year. Miami looks good on him.
Yeah, he's got to be the coolest, most swaggiest coach in the NFL
by far. Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
By year 4, we want the riffraff look. We want the gold teeth and the dreads.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll
be borrowing him from Tyreek.
His mic'd up stuff is crazy.
I
when
love
they do
it.
the mic'd up stuff.
That being said, they lost 1-6 to over 500 teams last year. They have to find ways to win in big games. They can put up big numbers like Denver, 70-20, highest, like one of the second highest scoring games.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything when you get to postseason. You have to go play Kansas City in -4-degree weather. You got to figure out how to beat Patrick Mahomes, and that's
weather freezes the tunas.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they're definitely
not tuna.
They're definitely the most disadvantaged team once playoff time comes because the weather is cold, and they're from Florida
Jets,
where it's hot all the time.
Patriots, Buffalo. Cold weather teams.
Yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
Dolphins are mammals. All right.
I know they are.
Okay, good. Just make sure.
I'm still going to call them.
I'll get you a zoology book.
That's fine.
Keegan, AFC East is brutal this year. Aaron Rodgers coming back, so the Jets, they're going to be good. Bills, Patriots, Dolphins. How do you see the division stacking up? Obviously, Bills kind of lost a little bit there. People think they're going to regress, but Aaron Rodgers coming back, got the Dolphins here. Patriots are always kind of, stingy. I don't know. They can win some games.
They don't impress me. The
All right,
Patriots.
they don't impress you. All right, so
I think they look
4.
pretty terrible. I'm kind of curious to see what it's Drake May, right? That's the starting quarterback there now.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett was going to start and then got a shoulder injury. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what happened.
I'm not sure if he'll be ready or not, but I like the Jets. I think the Jets could be a good team if Rodgers stays healthy. I really like Garrett Wilson. I think Breece Hall is fantastic as well. So I'd like to see them kind of do that. I think the Bills maybe coming in a little bit underrated because, they got rid of Diggs. They're like, well, who are they going to throw the ball to? I think that's kind of a mistake. I think Josh Allen is a very good player. I think he will find a way. And I really was impressed with Dalton Kincaid, to be honest with you. I think he had a good season.
He's good.
Yeah.
I just hope Rodgers gets turf toe in San Francisco week 1.
I know.
Hey, at that age, it's possible.
It's going to happen.
No, it is. Yeah. After what happened last season, I think the NFL in general. I mean, I know you're serious, but I mean, it's good for the NFL if Rodgers comes back. We got to see what the Jets. I mean, that team is stacked, and like last year, whenever they lost him, watching Wilson and stuff for some of those weeks, it was pitiful. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they didn't do like the thing like the Browns did with like Flacco. Why does teams like that have that much talent? Even if they would have gotten somebody and he stunk, it would have been like, well, we tried. They just
I think
up.
Flacco reached out to them before he went to the Browns last year.
He did actually.
Like sent a paper plane of resume or something over there saying, hey, check out.
They sent it promptly back.
I don't know. To me, that division is going to come down to the Dolphins and the Jets.
It is.
The Bills, unfortunately, they got in a lot of contract issues. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. A lot of contract issues, way over the salary cap, had to start cutting a lot of people, had to rebuild. They're going to have to rebuild, and obviously they're going to rebuild with Josh Allen. He's a very talented quarterback.
Yeah.
Been very underrated his entire career.
Yes.
He's a California boy. Mm-hmm. I mean, but the reality is I don't know if they have enough to compete with the Jets and the Dolphins. I really don't know. And when it comes down to it, to me, it's a coin toss against the Dolphins and the Jets because if the Jets stay healthy, they got a pretty stacked team over there.
Which is a callback to my turf toe because, that's why.
Indeed.
I like Aaron Rodgers, but
I'll pray with you.
appreciate it, man.
It's quite a rough start for them.
Next week's show, we'll start off.
I think when you're a team like the Dolphins and you make the playoffs that first year, like the NFL, there's very rare that a team just makes the playoffs and then goes all the way to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl. Like you have to feel the playoff, like, the atmosphere and how much different it is. Like no more are guys like going 75, 80, 90%. Like guys are going balls to the wall. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the radio, but anyways, all right, I got the thumbs up. They're going balls to the wall.
I love it.
First slip.
No, yeah. They're going balls to the wall. I said it 3 times now. Just to make sure I stuck it in there.
You're just taking advantage
Every
now.
time you owe me $5, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly. But it's totally different. So I'm thinking, oh man,
Let's give it a little wiggle.
do a little wiggle. There we go. So no shame on them for their first time in a while getting into the playoffs, exiting the way they did this year. I think they'll improve.
I used to have a saying for a long time, and you could probably enjoy this because you are a Dolphins fan, but I used to razz my brother a lot that, August 8th was the Dolphins' day because it's 8-8, because that's how they always ended. It didn't matter how they were.
I could appreciate that.
McDaniel showed up, and he has turned that team around. They're a fun team to watch, dude.
Yeah.
They are really a fun team to watch.
Well, I remember when we were all excited when Tannehill got there because he was number 17 and he was the 17th quarterback from Marino, and that ended terribly.
Yeah, superstitions. All fans have them.
I was not my superstition. Somebody told me that and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to the Dolphins. I always, they're not a team that affects the Niners or the AFC. I always kind of root for them. I like the Dolphins. I like Tua. I like McDaniels. All right, we're gonna wrap the show up. This has kind of been, but we're on one last topic. We're gonna talk about another wide receiver here. We are going to speak about. Where's my paper here? Make sure. We are talking about Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase officially returned to practice, showing up Sunday in the middle of a contract dispute. His decision to end the hold-in would seem to indicate he's ready to go for Week 1. Jamar Chase, who has been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL over the last few seasons, entering the 4th year of his rookie deal. You don't need to sign these guys to $1 million. Anyways, do you guys think 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, coming off career high 100 catches, 1,216 yards last season, specifically not any team, but should the Bengals themselves, should they pay Chase that much money like we just saw CeeDee Lamb get today? What do you think?
If I'm not mistaken, he's actually got 2 years left on his deal because he has that 5th-year option. So realistically, they have one more year for him, and he's slated to make about 4.8. So I think what they do is they sit back and let him play one more season with Burrow healthy and see how far they can get, and if they get to a Super Bowl. Because you guys talked about this last week. Burrow and Chase can take down Mahomes. Mm-hmm. They can beat him. That's the guy that beats the Chiefs.
I agree.
So,
my thing about Chase is you're right. 3 years of 1,000 yards. The last 3 years of the top receivers, he's actually ranked number 14. Believe it or not, 14th out of the 3 contract issues that we're having with receivers. Which one was completed today with CeeDee Lamb's signing? Ayuk is actually ranked at number 11 overall stat wise.
Yeah.
So to me, I think Chase is on a prove it year. Just like Chris said, he's got to prove it. He's got. I mean, granted, he's not had a quarterback last year, but he's a good player. I'm not taking nothing away from him. I just think with the 2 years left, you can't go mortgage the house when you could possibly bring some more prospects in. They lost their running back this year. They're going to have to equate for that. I'm not saying, I believe Zach Moss is over there now.
Yes,
Chase Brown as well.
And Chase Brown. So I don't think it's going to be hurt too much.
Yeah.
You got younger there, but I think Chase is going to have to prove it this year and get those numbers from number 14 in the last 3 years. He's got to climb.
All these guys, though, we're talking about it all on rookie deals, and they're towards the end of their rookie deals. I mean, why not just not sign them and then go out and draft more positional players like this, Keegan?
I mean, for me, I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, I think that a lot of the times you have to really back the talent you see. I think Jamar Chase is definitely he's a wide receiver 1 in the league for sure. If we got a little fantasy there. I mean, he's a fantastic player. When you looked at, like, for instance, obviously Miami really benefited from Hill going over there. But then you look at Kansas City, yes, they got Trent McDuffie. He's a really handy player, but they really haven't filled the hole at wide receiver. And then you look at the Titans and A.J. Brown. You know, they look how well he's done over at the Eagles.
Yeah.
Who did they have? Traylon Burks? I don't think that one worked very well.
So you make a good point. It's like the flip side to that is you can show me a bunch of teams who let that guy go and then tried to do what I'm saying they should do, and then they still have a huge cavity in that spot.
I just think when it comes to elite talent, which these receivers we're talking about have, I think it's very hard to replace, because I mean, you look at how many prospects there are, how many guys achieve at this level. I don't know. I'd rather have who I have and I can see what they can do than try and gamble on the Traylon Burks.
Well, I agree with you, but after Tyreek Hill left, the Chiefs went on to 2 more Super Bowls. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Tyreek did good in Miami.
The biggest difference there is that quarterback.
That is, it's the quarterback, and that's Mahomes. And Burrow and Jamar Chase are your.
Yep.
Those are the guys.
Yeah, I was like, I think Burrow. The reason why I say maybe specifically not them, definitely have a prove it year, but don't pay him all that money, is because I do think Burrow is that good. I think he's
so good.
I think he's like right there with Mahomes. To be honest, Mahomes does some crazy stuff, so I'll give Mahomes the nod. He's got the Super Bowls, but I think Burrow is that good, and I think that one quality that Mahomes has is that Mahomes. I mean, he definitely has Kelsey, but other than that, it's like a revolving door of wide receivers over there. Tyreek Hill, he had him for a while, but Tom Brady used to do that. Like, he was good. I mean, he had Randy Moss and stuff like that, but a lot of those guys were no-namers. Then he came there, and Tom Brady just put it on you. So good, so accurate. And so I'm thinking, like, for the Bengals, I don't know if they should give the money, but overall, I want to get your guys' opinion. Wide receivers, just in general, the list, I had it right here. I won't make you wait for me to pull it up, but wide receivers in general, overpaid, or you got to pay these guys? What do you think, Chris?
I think they're a little overpaid, but I think quarterbacks are a little overpaid too.
Well, quarterback, of course. Gosh,
so I think they need to disperse it out. I think they give a little more love to the running backs because their careers are shorter, 3 to 4 year average. That's why Saquon left the Giants. They weren't going to pay him because he's going to beat his body up.
I think in the last couple of years, though, we've seen the running backs go to committee now, so that's why they're not getting paid as much. But receiver-wise, everybody's overpaid in my opinion. But if I had to guess, I mean, receivers, they're getting overpaid.
Like, if you were spending, though, like, it's a salary cap league, so you only have so much money. You have to allocate it to all these different things. Is wide receiver one of the things that you're having top flight talent on?
It's hard to say. You got 3 of them usually on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
So do you need to pay one guy $30 million and the other guy's $2 million? I don't know. I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. But that's just the way it is, and it's hard to say, man.
One of the things that I don't think gets talked about all the time is, to me, that and defensive back is kind of a young man's position in a lot of ways. Like, it equates to a lot of speed. Like, like Nick Bosa or something like that. I mean, he's probably going to lose a step every single year, but he's still going to be a hoss. You know what I mean? He's going to be a hog, and he might get to the quarterback a slight step to where, like, wide receiver and defensive back, you have to be, like, crazy fast. And even when you start to get up into your 30s, you might still be very skilled and athletic, but maybe you don't have those quick twitch things. What do you think, Keegan? Wide receivers, if you're the GM, are you paying them these top dollar, or are you kind of like, I'll find another wide receiver?
Like I said, back to my previous point, I think when you can see an elite talent like that, and you were speaking about Burrow, who I agree with you, I think he's an elite quarterback in the league. I want to give him a weapon, and he's very comfortable with Chase. Those guys have great chemistry together. I think that I would pay him, and while I also agree with Ryan in terms of everyone is overpaid, the running backs themselves, I mean, we look when they get deals, look at like Todd Gurley, look at Zeke Elliott. That didn't turn out very well.
It's true.
But I think that you could keep him around for several years and he could still be at that high level.
Yeah. No, I think we all kind of agree. It's like case specific, but one thing for sure, you got to have a quarterback in place. Like,
Oh, yeah,
the Dallas
absolutely.
thing's kind of weird because they haven't signed Dak Prescott, but they just gave CD. So it's almost like if you're Dak, they're like, I guess they're signing me too, right?
I would hope. I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, you hope.
The biggest one is Minnesota Vikings sign Justin Jefferson, and JJ McCarthy goes down.
Now it's like
in
Darnold
preseason.
throwing in the ball,
Darnold's
right?
it.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us the last hour. We had a blast. We are so pumped that you guys could join us for this. Awesome. Thank you so much. Join us again next week, Monday. That'll be the first show before the season starts. So really pumped about that one. Thank you guys. Huddle up on 93Q.